All right, all right. It is Sabbath afternoon, April 1, 2023, and we want to welcome each and every one of you here to this edition of the Pastor's Roundtable.
Listen, it is good to be back. It's good to be back. Pastor Wade, you held it down last week.
Yes, you did, brother. Yes, you did.
Great job.
Hey. Y'all trained me well. I just followed the script you shared. I just went with what you told me, what you taught me. So if there was any mistakes, folks, I just have to say I was trained by
wow. That's where you went with that?
Dion Henry. I'm just gonna be honest.
Wow. Oh my.
It was my pleasure. It was my pleasure to keep us in the house on last week. We had a great time. Man, what a subject, boy. I was worried a little bit on the topic, but man, our guests brought the word.
Yeah.
They did an excellent job.
Listen, I think I told you guys this when I shared my audience, that I was actually en route during PRT time to another engagement in another church. And so I'm watching and I'm listening as best I can while I'm en route. And the topic that I was dealing with when I was getting to my destination was exactly some of that same stuff. And so I'm sitting there taking notes, Dion, on Pastor's Roundtable, because Pastor's Roundtable is relevant and resourced, and it was very real for us last week. So if you missed last week's episode, Dion, what do folks need to do? How can they go back and watch it?
They need to go back to the PRT YouTube social media platform, and they need to take a look at that again. Or they go right to our website, and they could just do it right there, too. Let me tell you something. Last week, I was watching, the program afterwards, and let me tell you, David and Beverly Sedlacek, they did an awesome job talking about marriage. They also dealt with the ACEs study, adverse common experience, childhood common experiences. They did a great job. And I don't know, we always say a part two, Roger. We always talk about part two. But I think we need to do a part two on what they dealt with last week. Yes, it was so good.
Listen, if you missed last week, Roger, what are they looking at on their screens right now?
On the screen right now, you're looking at a screen dump of our website, the PRT.live. Right. If you can't remember the Pastors Roundtable, the PRT.live will take you right there. You can see all of the episodes from previous seasons. And while I'm there right now, folks, I just want you to know this is going to be our last episode for season 6.
Oh, wait,
this will be our last episode for season 6 today. Yeah, that's today. Right. We're going to take a quick break. It's not going to be long. We're going to take a quick break. You'll see something. We have the date for when we start season 7. The perfect season is about to begin.
All right. I'm looking forward to season 7. By the way, can we? I think I got that up. Do we have that? Yes, we do.
There it is.
Oh, there you go.
7.
Season 7.
Still relevant.
We hope to do some
still resource. And still real.
Listen, man. And we hope
April
to do
29th, April 29th, 2023, we will begin this process of hitting it where it hurts for some and relieving it where it's been itching for others.
All right, we've got some great guests today, and we want to get to them. But first, there's I came across this other little screen, you guys, and this little screen, it's like it seems like it's hinting at something. Dr. Henry,
you just showing off today, man. Listen, man, you just showing off today, man. You got all these screens going on, Pastor Paul. Man, I don't even know where I'm at, man.
Something's happening. There is a shift in the atmosphere.
Okay, watch this, Dr. Henry. Here we go, Dion. Wait a minute. Wait, what's happening here? I sense a movement afoot.
We are going. Are you telling we're going on the road? Is that
what
you're trying to say?
What?
We're going on the road. Well, actually, we're going in the air. We're going. Look, Pastors Roundtable, we want to keep things fresh. We want to keep things relevant, resourced, and real. And guess what? In 2 weeks, by God's grace, we're going to be going to Andrews University. We're taking the program on the road. There's a family life section that I'm going to be doing. There's a communication section that Pastor Paul's going to be doing. There's a section that Roger Wade's going to be doing. And then we're all going to be coming together and we're going to do a live show. That's right. It's a live show with our seminarians, the leaders, those leaders that are in training. We're going to come to them. We're going to talk to them about some things that impact the ministry. We're going to pour into them. They're going to pour into us. And by God's grace, that episode will be a blessing, not only to the student body there and ourselves, but it'll be a blessing to the entire field as we kind of see what's happening within our educational system. So it's on the road. Listen, put it down. Make sure you subscribe to Pastors Roundtable so that you can get a little notification, man, when we're on.
All right, sounds good. I see Patrick Williams in the chat on YouTube. He's saying from Omaha, Nebraska, hello. He's asking, what is the subject for today? What's on the table today, gentlemen? Raj, help us out, man. This is your thing. What's on the table, man?
Listen, I am just so excited that we're going to take some time to talk about this relevant issue. We're dealing with the issues and the obstacles when it comes to being a Adventist communicator. And we actually are going to highlight a very important organization within our church, a resource. That's what we're dealing with today, a resource for our churches that they can connect with and learn and to be able to share that story that we must be telling. Come on, not just our story, but his story that we're telling. Today we're talking about communicating the story.
So listen, Roger, what Pastor Paul, Roger told us what was on the table, and I think we're going to get a good meal today. It's hot, it's ready, it's just ready to eat. But listen, you got to let us know who's at the table, Pastor Paul. You got to let us know who's at the table.
Listen, all the way from the North American Division Communications Department, we have Kimberly Maran with us today. We are so excited that she found the time in her busy schedule to come and hang out with us today at Pastors Roundtable. We have Brenda Dickerson from the Mid-America Union Communications Department who is with us today. We are so excited to have her. She's actually, I'll say that a little bit later. And then from right here at home, fellas, we have the inimitable, we call him BT. Dr. Bryant Taylor is with us, the Southern Union Communications Director. We're excited to have all three of these powerful individuals, and they work together, and they work together both currently and in the past with an organization called the Society of Adventist Communicators. And we are happy today to welcome all three of them right here to the Pastors Roundtable. Good afternoon to our wonderful star-studded guest lineup today. We are excited to have each of you with us today. And thank you so much for being with us on this Sabbath afternoon. We're going to start. We're going to jump in because I know what a lot of time is gone. We're already 15 minutes, 16 minutes in, and we've got a lot to discuss today. I hope that we can sink into this. But just before we do that, I'm going to ask Pastor Wade if you would just offer a word of prayer for us. And then we want to give our guests an opportunity to introduce themselves, tell us a little bit more about them, where they are, what they're doing, and then we'll hop into the questions for the day.
Awesome. Let's pray. Father, again, thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for this time and this space. We pray that your name be glorified and somebody will come to know you as their Savior. Is my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. All right. Well, we're going to just go right across the top, starting with Brenda and going all the way through to Kimberly. But Brenda, we're going to give you guys, each of you, we're going to give you 48.9 seconds that you have to fill out that time slot. Just share with us, Brenda, a little bit about where you are, what you're doing. Use all of that bountiful amount of time to shout out anybody that you want to shout out or whatever you wanted. The time is yours. You can greet our guests, our audience at this time.
All right. Well, I have been working in church communication for 12 years now. at the Mid-America Union, which is headquartered here in Lincoln, Nebraska. And I have just learned so much thanks to many colleagues and mentors and classes I've taken and resources that I have been able to utilize. Communication is a fascinating field because there's always something new and interesting to try out. And right now, I am just very honored to be serving as the president of the Society of Adventist Communicators. And I'm very honored to be here today at the Pastors Roundtable with my colleagues, Kimberly Maran and Dr. Bryant Taylor.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Taylor.
Hi, I'm Bryant Taylor. Everybody knows me as BT. So if you say Bryant Taylor and I don't answer, you'll know why. Just say BT and I'll turn around. But I have the privilege to serve as the communication director for Southern Union and the editor of Southern Tidings. I'm simple. It's easy for me. I'm Bryant Taylor, and I make religious leaders digital disciples so that they can be relevant as they merge ministry and media.
Love it. Love it. Good stuff.
Good.
Stuff. Kimberly.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not sure how I follow those two that were both so eloquent. And I loved what you said right there at the end, BT. That was great. Yeah, so my name is Kimberly, or Kim is fine. And I have been at the North American Division in the communication department for 7 years. But I'm newly minted to my position as director of communication. That happened in November of last year. So I'm about 4 months in, and really enjoying it. I love the working with the unions and our colleges, and just everyone else who will have me. I enjoy working in communication. Before that, I was with the Adventist Review for many years, and started a little magazine called Kids View, and helped start Adventist World magazine. And so I've long history in communication and publishing. Before that, I was at the union, so that's kind of where I got my start. And so I have a very big heart and passion for our unions, and really enjoy what I do. And working with these two, they make it easy to work with the Society of Adventist Communicators, and also in my office currently.
Yeah, there we go. That's phenomenal. All right. Well, we're just going to go ahead and jump right in here at the beginning with our first question. And we talk about Adventist communicators. And some people don't know exactly what that means when we say Adventist communicator. So, Brenda, I'd like to start with you, and then anybody else can jump in. What is an Adventist communicator, or who is an Adventist communicator? And then talk to us a little bit more about the Society for Adventist Communicators. Who are they? What do they do? What's the purpose and the goal? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, first, I will just say that everyone is a communicator.
Okay.
Everyone. And communication truly is the right arm of every effective organization, whether it's a local church or a school or a healthcare network or a conference or a union office or any of those things. Communication is just vital to organizational success. And communicators typically manage many functions and services. We work in public relations, design and branding, social media, photography, writing, strategic planning, web, video. The list goes on and on. Now, what is the Society of Adventist Communicators? It is a professional development organization that focuses on continuing education and networking and nurturing Christians with various types of careers in communication. So I'll just give a quick overview of some things about the society and then let other people fill in some of the details there. The theme that we use for Society of Adventist Communicators is 3 words: purpose, passion, and partnership. And the mission is to nurture the professional growth of communicators by developing, let me start that over. To nurture the professional growth of communicators in a spiritual and social environment. And someone might ask, well, who is this society for? It's really for anyone who is a leader or works in the field of communication in any way. And today we especially want to invite pastors to learn about Society of Adventist Communicators and what resources are available there, because every pastor is a very important communicator. Some of the most important communicators in the Adventist church, I would say.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So let's. I want to make sure that I got this right in terms of who we said are those communicators. Can you guys kind of go through that list again? Because I know we have people in our audience today who may think, this topic is not for me because I'm not I was not elected as the communications department director for my local church. So you gave us a whole lineup of different things. So let's go through that again. Let's just throw them out there as much as we can think of. I heard you say photographers, communicators, writers, communicators. What about people who do stuff like skits and plays, dramatic productions? Could we consider them communicators as well? Okay. I also heard, did I hear you say strategic planning?
Yes.
All right, okay, break that one down for me. How is a strategic planner? What's their role and function, and what kind of resources do we have for people who are doing strategic planning? And in a church setting, what are some of the situations where we might use strategic planning inside of a church context? Or a school, or a ministry, any ministry departments. BT, you want to take a stab at that?
So every church right now has a strategic planner. They may not call them that. They may not recognize the person as that, but they're there. When churches sit down and they begin to plan out their year activities, their programming, they begin to plan out their strategy for the year. That's strategic planning. There is someone who's helping lead that and guide it through it. That person is there. They may not have that title, but every church has one.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And I would say, we're everyone is a communicator in some fashion. And I think about what goes into the church bulletin, the printed bulletin, who's doing a newsletter for the church, community engagement, anything that you're doing as an outreach, there should be strategic communication behind it, behind what you're doing. And there is oftentimes, we don't necessarily call it that, but really some of our most successful outreach programs, our evangelistic series and campaigns, all of that deals with communication.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Okay.
So you mean to tell me the secretary or the person who does the bulletin is a communicator?
I believe so, absolutely.
Come on. We're elevating this thing today because I know there's a lot of clerks today who just got elevated and freed because they thought they were just the bulletin clerk. Today, we are saying that they are part of the communication staff of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in their local area. I am excited about that today.
Oh, wow.
My.
And they can have a place at the Society of Adventist Communicators. All right.
Come on.
Good. Good stuff. All right.
So let me just chime in. I know I have another question here, but so when you have these workshops, right? The Society of Society of Adventist Communicators. You have all of these individuals there at these workshops, like the photographers. Is that how these workshops are done, or are you focused on one specific communication method? Is one more than the other, or is it just everybody come together? Can you explain a little bit about that? BT, maybe, or yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
So it's all of the above.
Oh,
There are workshops from social media to strategic planning to leadership. You'll find a workshop on photography, on videography, on writing, on crisis management. If there's an area that deals with communication, then there is probably at some point in the series of conventions that is handled and dealt with.
Okay.
okay.
Videography. So again, videography. A lot of our churches, when you say videography, they're thinking about shooting the church service or streaming a church service. What about film? Are there any Adventist film makers out there? Do we deal anything with? Is that part of when we say Adventist communicators? Is that a thing as well?
I would say that's part of it for sure. You touched on it. Anything that you're doing with film or video, it's a huge swath of careers and types of video that go out there. But yes, that is part of it as well. We talk in terms of broadcast video, as well as live streaming. A church service, to a podcast, that also has video as well as the audio. And so we do try to provide a little bit for everyone. We have it segmented. BT's absolutely right. We have it, the Society of Adventist Communicators, kind of segmented into these different groups when we do the seminars, so that we guarantee that on our board we have representatives from each of these areas, so that we are covering all of that through our seminars. So there's going to be something for everyone there. As BT was saying, from the social media aspect of video to writing, micro copy for social media. What are the best ways of doing that? And then, with crisis communication, that's always an important thing. We also talk about copyright, which we feel is always beneficial, talking about copyright in terms of photography and images used, licensing for music. And we really try to touch on a lot of things. It's a very busy weekend. And one thing that I found interesting over the pandemic, which is another area of emphasis that we're including, is self-care for communicators. Because during the pandemic years, a lot of us were running ragged, trying to, especially on the local level, trying to, get a church online that's never done it before, to trying to manage personalities and equipment, you just name it. And so trying to do all of that, we discovered that when we were online, and we transferred this over into when we were live again in person this past fall, but for 2 years online, we developed a track that had more of that counseling feeling to it. And what can we do as communicators to replenish and refresh, so that we don't burn out? So I think all of those things are just so important for any level of church work, from the unions and the NAD, to the local church level. I think all of those things are really pretty important.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Hey,
Let me ask you
Ansem,
this.
here,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, here is how far Society of Communicators goes. Many years ago, my very first Society of Adventist Communicators I went to, there was a person there, Kermit Nettenberg. He was at the NAD communication director, and the class he was teaching then was Photoshop 1.
Oh, wow.
Well, you went back.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. So desktop publishing and graphic art, all of that stuff is part of this genre of communicating. Great stuff.
Yes.
All right.
So let me ask this question. question here.
But Dr. Henry,
So,
before you jump,
oh yeah,
Dr.
go
Henry,
ahead.
before you
Go ahead.
jump to that, I'm thinking we may need to get a little behind the scenes question about why is there a need for the Society of Adventist Communicators? I
Okay.
mean, one of the things that we do in this church is always pull a committee together. We're quick with getting a committee together. But what did y'all see as a need for this society to be birthed? What was happening um, in the church that caused this society to be birthed? Anyone can answer that.
Well, I'll just give a little bit of history of how it started. It was actually in the Southern Union in 1989
Hey.
under a
All right.
different name. But by the year 2000, it was opened up to the entire North American division, and they continued that practice of training and networking and resourcing. This is the only Adventist organization in North America that is specifically for communicators. Wow. So in that way, it really does fill the need of connecting people and resourcing the professionals in the area of communication.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I like what you said. This society makes sure that we're resourcing, those individuals within our churches and I guess conferences and so forth, so that we can be up to date and making sure that we utilize the best technology possible to communicate the gospel. You talked about some of the challenges of the Adventist communicator. And I think one of the things that you're talking about, I think Kimberly, you mentioned the idea of, in a sense, stress, going back and forth. And we need to, as Adventist communicators, we need self-care, right? What are some of the other challenges that confront the Adventist communicator? And I guess we have so many different ones. We got the photography, like you mentioned. We got, the audio, I guess audio and visual, website. But just maybe if you could be specific and mention some of the challenges that's unique to a specific type of communicator, so that we'll know, how to be of help and be a resource to them. So I don't know if I guess Kimberly or BT or whichever one. We'll go with, I guess, BT. We'll go with BT first, and then we'll go to looking at my notes here, right? We'll go to BT, and then we're going to go to I want to hear from Brenda Dickerson and then also Kimberly on some of the challenges, the unique challenges that face specific communicators.
So here's one. I'll do the easy one. Here's one of the challenges that face photographers in the Adventist church. Everyone thinks that they're a great photographer.
Oh boy, I know where you're going.
So everyone, everyone that has a camera believes that they should be up front, out in the open, to get the photo. So that's one of the challenges.
Roger, he's just going to sit here and talk about me in front of my face. Just
so here's the challenge. Yeah, the challenge is that in certain sectors of the denomination, that skill set is not honored as something that is of value to the denomination. And I'll give you an example. Wow. At the General Conference session, World General Conference session, there's an elaborate process that you have to go through to get press passes. And elaborate. Yeah, and once you gain the press pass, you would believe that afforded you certain abilities. Here's what we discovered at one GC session: that everyone with a camera walked up to the stage and took a photo in front of those who had passes for all of the publications within the denomination. So
Oh my.
there were people there who were shooting for publications for the denominations who had to fight for ground with the little person or the little kid or the grandmother that pulled up her flip phone to take a picture of the GC president coming out on the stage. And so that's one of the challenges is to have that level of value as other areas
Oh my.
of the denomination.
Wow.
Like singing
You
or preaching.
listen, that I mean, I'm thinking there, man. Does this happen in other conventions and so forth? You know, when they have these big, maybe political parties and conventions. I mean, is anybody able to come over there and just take a picture, or, you know, do they have passes and so forth? That's running through my
Well,
mind. You know, that's
you can, but you are behind the rope line.
okay.
Access is
You,
limited then, yeah.
yeah, you're
Yeah,
behind the
access is
designated
limited.
area, and
Okay.
access is very limited. Yes.
How about Brenda? How about you? You know, from the, I guess, your perspective and looking at the division and so forth. I mean, what are some of the challenges, unique challenges, to Adventist communicators that we see?
I think one of the challenges is just that the world of communication has exploded in so many ways.
Mm,
And there are now so many tools available, and always something new, a new method, a new piece of equipment. And it can be just overwhelming to try to keep up with all the new things. And how do you know if you're choosing the best thing for your production that you're doing at your local church? So just the sheer amount of information and options and choice,
hmm
it can just really feel overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah, I think overload, right? All this
Mhm.
information is coming. People are, what's the new thing, right? And so,
Social media, AI. What's the little chat something? There's this I've been
Chat
hearing.
GBT.
Yeah,
Yeah.
chat GBT, all those kind of things. By the way, if anybody can tell us a little bit of what that is, I'd love to know. I've only seen it mentioned. I haven't really dug into
right.
finding out what that
It's
is.
wonderful, Anselm. It really is. It's wonderful.
And there you have it, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen.
So here,
That's it.
so I help you.
Yeah.
You heard-
Chat GPT is artificial intelligence. It will answer a question.
Write my term paper for me.
It will write your
Yes,
term
it
paper for
will.
you.
Hold on. Write my sermon for. Stop it.
It
Um,
will.
So,
yeah, it will. It will. And so it functions by asking a question. You know, who 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 are the six greatest um, communicators in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and it will come back with, well, there are six of them: Brenda Dickerson, Kimberly Maran, Deion Henry, Anselm Paul, Roger Wade, and some other guy who were funny little guy. We can't
Don't
quite remember
trust it.
his name, but it's artificial intelligence that scours
Wow.
hundreds of thousands and millions of artifacts to begin to put together something as a cohesive document for you.
So,
Wow.
Kimberly, I'd like to. I know you've got something to say, but I want to add Woo's question. We had it up
Yeah.
on the screen there because I thought it was a good question, and we talk about the challenges. He's saying, do you think that we need all of the publications that we have as a church in the modern world? And I suspect he's meaning print publications. Help me if I'm wrong on that, Woo. But I know these magazines that we get in the mail or whatnot. And if I'm wrong, correct us, Woo, but I suspect he's talking about print publications.
yeah, and I would say that probably yes. I would lean toward yes. And the reason I would do that is because that as a medium is still not dead. Print is not dead. There are a lot of people that prefer to receive their communication through print. Um, I think that, and having said that, I also think that there should be obviously choice involved with that. If you do want to receive something, you should. And I think that, we have people that write to us. So we also do from the division Adventist Journey magazine, which is in
Mm-hmm.
partnership with Adventist World. And we do have people writing to us saying, we, we just read it online. We don't want the print copy. And I think that we need to listen to those voices as well, and respond in liked, if you can't handle having a print edition or something, then let's save those resources. But I do think that there is a definite need for publications that are out there, and I think what should probably happen is a really good assessment on what needs are being met through what avenues in print. We think of Signs of the Times, which is a sharing publication, or Vibrant Life, Message Magazine. Do we need those? Yeah, we do. They're reaching a segment of an audience that we may not be able to reach in any other way. And so I think that, generally my answer is yes, but I do think that we need to take a look at what we put out as well, so that we're continuing to meet needs. And if we're not, then we should reassess.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Let me ask this question. Let me ask this question in light of.
I do see this other question on here, and
before we jump there,
in light of what
Kimberly just shared, and being a conference communications director, we have some conferences who do their own newsletter or their own magazine, and then we have the unions that do it, and then the division. But the member in the local church, or the member who sits in the pew, sometimes is inundated with all the print that comes. And I think this was a little bit of what Wu was trying to ask. We're still, what would you say to an organization in terms of making a decision how to get that information, particularly in the print? Or should we not go there because of the field being so already cluttered, that has so many things already offered? Are we in a position where we could add one more, or should we really consider what's already out there? Is it meeting our needs? Or, as you shared, because we have a specific need like Message, Regional Voice, Signs of the Times, all these other publications, should we add another one to it? What's the best advice you can give to a communicator like me?
Well, if I can just jump in, so go to Baskin Robbins and tell them which flavor to take out. Everybody can pick everyone can pick a flavor to take out. The problem is that someone still likes that flavor, and someone will still come there for that flavor. And while there are multiple publications, they all speak to a different audience. And if that one were to go away, that publication says, wait, they stopped talking to me. I'm no longer heard. Am I no longer important? So I that's part of the take I would say on that, Rod.
Got you.
Yeah, I see this question here from Rowan Wellington. I think you put it in the chat already, and so we put it on your screen. Yeah. I really want somebody to address that, Rod. So I guess you still had to. Want to ask that question.
And there was that other one by Carlene as well that I thought was a good question.
Yeah, I got to take that one. Yeah. And the reason I'm interested with the Rowan Wellington one is because I saw something on the news about 2 weeks ago about artificial intelligence, and they were going in. Lester Holt was going in, and they were talking about how they got this mechanism they could mimic your voice, and they were just going into a whole lot. So I just want to know what is your Rowan Wellington? He's asking, what are your views on the contribution of artificial intelligence to communication directors? Is it to be embraced, man? I want to know who wants to tackle that for us.
I was going to say I can just speak to it very briefly, and Brenda, I'm interested in what you have to say as well. But I think that we are going to have to embrace it. It's here, and I think that there are ways that it can be utilized to really help especially in terms of, short copy or material, that you want to, you can type into the thing, that the type of spirit you want in what you're saying, and you can give it a few cues, and it can produce content that I think would be helpful with a communicator. Having said that, I think that there are places that we need to be cautious in how we're using it, and I suspect that in time there may be some. I don't want to get too far into the weeds, but I think that there might be legal things, that copyright and things that we were going to need to consider in the future as it becomes more prevalent. But interestingly enough, I was working on something, and I wrote a conclusion to a report, and AI wrote a conclusion to the report, and they were so close.
Wow.
In wording. It really was a little scary. I said, well, that's almost exactly what I said. And it took it a little shorter time than it took me to write it. So I think that is something that we're going to need to embrace. But always knowing that we've got a second eye. We have to look at it.
All right.
And I agree, Kim, with all the things that you just said. It's something that's here. It's a tool that can be utilized. Our Associate Communication Director at Mid-America Union, Hugh Davis, has been checking this out, doing some exploratory work with it. And the thing that I really appreciate is that he figured out how to write the recipe, so to speak, of the instructions that you give, so that it will show you the resources for where it's pulling the information. And I think that is a critical piece of using this tool, is being able to look at the resources that it's pulled from and evaluate those as part of your process of going through the information and making sure that that is indeed something that you're ready to publish.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. Should we embrace it? Yes. Have we been using it for many, many years? Yes. You know, there's this little lady called Siri.
Heard of her? Yeah.
Yeah, you've heard her. You've never met her.
She's cousins with Alexa, right?
Yeah, she's cousins. She's cousins to Alexa. And remember, it is a tool, and every tool can be used for good or for evil. A hammer can be used to drive a nail, or it can be used to break a window.
That's fascinating. Listen, BT, we had a conversation probably, about 8, 9 months ago. I don't know if you remember, but we were talking about the history of the Seventh-day Adventist Church and communications. We were talking about putting together a little reel or a little video or something on that. Can you, in like 45 seconds or so, talk to us about the history that the Seventh-day Adventist Church has when it comes to being either, where have we been historically? At the forefront, in the middle, at the back end, at the tail of new forms of technology and communication. I don't know if you remember that conversation. The look on your face is like, I feel like I need to stoke it a little bit more. But all right, you got it?
No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
All right.
I was trying to get the date in my head.
Because that was fascinating to me.
Yeah. In the early 30s, there was a Presbyterian pastor in New York who was the first person on radio, and that was the beginning of church communication in the secular sector. 2 years after that, there was HMS Richards. And it was the first on television.
Yeah.
It was the Adventist Church who were not just the forerunners, but the groundbreakers for tele-evangelism.
Wow. Y'all heard that? that Adventism, that we were at the forefront. We were the trailblazers. We were the pathfinders, in a sense, of using technology as a way to communicate the gospel. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good to hear.
And listen, I need to jump on this side. We have been blazing the trail as late as 2000, when 1999 to 2000, and the
Yes.
youth department for the division wanted to do this Y2K presentation across the United States. It was the Adventist Church that challenged AT&T and
Yes.
Sprint and to
Yes.
actually develop network opportunities for us to do that across there. So the church has been very much on the forefront of pushing, especially when it comes to the communication in this world.
All right.
Yeah. And he's talking about Net 96, Net 99. Adventists were the first person to do multicast in the religious setting.
Wow. Good stuff.
Wow.
All right. Roger, we've got another question there. Are you ready
Wow.
to take us
Yeah,
there?
well, listen, I'm just, but I think let's go back to Carlene's question.
Oh, yes.
About
Yes.
preparation
And our
for
schools.
communicators. I think the question is, if I can remember correctly, are our colleges and universities offering in terms of training? What are they offering in terms of training for those who are interested in this field? Anyone?
I can speak first. I know that I went to Adventist college for undergrad, and graduated with the degree in journalism and in English, and they had a pretty good program where I went. And I think our colleges do have programs. A lot of them now are in mass communication or digital communication, mass media. But those are the types of programs that are being offered in our colleges and universities. So I think of, I don't want to, I got a lot of Southern people on the call here, so I can say Southern's got a great program for journalism and communication. But Union College does as well, and like, a lot of our colleges and universities have pretty good programs. And so I think that they're learning. And one of the things that we didn't talk about too much earlier, with the Society of Adventist Communicators, we actually encourage our college and university students to attend, and we give them a deep discount in order to come, because we want that fellowship, we want that networking, we want to grow our communicators into considering the church as a place to work. We're feeling the pinch a little bit in communication, in the corporate side of the church communication, where we need our young people to consider working for the church, and it's a very rewarding place to work. And so part of Society of Adventist Communicators is building those bridges to our young people. They don't have to go to our colleges and universities, but if they're Christian and passionate about communication, we actually want them to come to our event.
And each of the universities has their niche in communications that they're doing. Southern has a fantastic animation program that they're teaching. It's fabulous. Oakwood with Dr. Cheddar is probably the only of our institutions that actually teaches production. Many of them teach film, but at Oakwood, Dr. Cheddar teaches production. So there are different aspects of it happening in each of our universities.
And BT, I'm glad you brought up Oakwood, because they're on the forefront of a lot of that technology in communication and video production. And this year, they're participating in the other thing that we do at communication at the division is Sunscreen, our Sunscreen Film Festival. And I was on the panel deciding, what were the films that were coming in this year. I was so excited to see so many offerings from Oakwood University in that pool. They were great, really outstanding video productions. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
Awesome. So listen,
go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Roger.
No, go ahead.
No, go on.
It's your show, Doc. We're just spectators here.
I was just looking down at something that Wu mentioned. Wu said communications need to get more respect in the church.
Wow.
In corporate settings, we revere communications.
Wow.
I'm actually reading a book right now that's fascinating, and it's close to my heart. Here's the title. You ready? I love Jesus, but I hate Christmas.
Mm.
Woo.
Because it deals with the challenges of the technical, the media, that crew who week after week after week toil and labor and are
Yep.
not respected or not seen or not appreciated. They make sure it happens, but no one goes back and says, "Hey, thank you."
Oh,
Um, and so I agree with Wu wholeheartedly that that respect level needs to be raised, if for nothing more than if it weren't for those people, um, you would have been left behind between the years 2020 and 2022,
Absolutely.
Ooh.
and
Hmm.
so many were.
Yes.
and
Bec-
so many were.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
That
so,
that
so
that speaks
listen.
to right quick, Rod. That speaks
Mhm.
to this traditional and BT. You know because you have pastored this, and I was going to say love hate relationship between pastors and audio engineers, but I would probably be more accurate if I said need hate relationship between because it's a tool that we need in order to communicate effectively, and just sometimes just nurturing those relationships. And I've heard you talk about this in the past, Doc Taylor, on just the need that no matter what form of communication you are, particularly as leaders and pastors, and if you're a ministry leader at your church and you say, I don't deal with communication, but if you're a ministry leader, there's something that you are trying to communicate to somebody. And you will need the assistance, the help, the guidance, the coaching
Yep.
of somebody that is in this field. And so nurturing those relationships can be key to making that happen effectively.
And
I
and
need to take this moment. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying, and Andrews has a D-men program that's starting this year for pastors in the area of communication and media for
Okay.
ministry. That's gonna be fascinating.
Nice, nice. I did take this moment to thank Brenda. Brenda, I had a little small time with the Mid America team, and while I was there serving in church ministries, Brenda grafted me into the communications ministry of the
Come on now.
team of Mid America, because as I went out, I was able to bring information back and take pictures and help with telling the story about what was happening. So I became part of the team. So I want to say thank you, Brenda, for that. But I want to ask this question: How do you manage as denomination, either on the denominational side or the world's expectation, with confronting with these issues we just talked about? How do we manage these expectations? Some, as you said, it was said that our communicators are not revered and not honored. How do we manage these expectations? I think we have a set of expectations, but our leadership may have a different set of expectations. How do we manage that? How do you manage that? Kim, you want to start us off with that? How do we manage those expectations?
I would say and you're absolutely right. There are expectations on all sides of the situation, and I think that part of managing expectations is building trust and recognizing. It's funny when I first started as an intern. So forgive me, my ignorance as an intern. I learned that my boss was a pastor, and I said, but I'm a communicator. This is a pastor. He doesn't write. Okay. Like what's this? And I'm so thankful that I was very quickly disabused of those notions. Um, an excellent communicator, excellent writer, probably taught me more than a lot of my college professors did. And I had to trust in that person knowing what they were doing. But also on the flip side, when you've got a communicator coming in that has the training and has the experience, I think the flip side of that is that the pastor or the pastoral team or whoever it is needs to trust that the communicator is going to be able to do that job. And that comes with time. I don't think those things happen overnight, but having a relationship of honesty and trust goes a long way in being able to effectively communicate.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I would add to that, as we build those trust relationships that Kim was talking about there, then that opens the door for us to focus on collaboration, which is such a vital part of being able to communicate effectively. And the more that we collaborate, then the stronger that we become, because really we're all on the same team. We're working toward the same goal. We all want to share the gospel of Jesus Christ and build up God's kingdom. And being able to collaborate and share resources and work together is, I think, one of the best ways of dealing with these expectations.
BT, you have anything to add?
Well, I was thinking about something earlier, and Wu kind of hit on it. Wu is on it today. He kind of hit on it a minute ago. He says we are a Mission Spotlight Church trying to operate on ECAN.
Hey, wait a minute.
I was thinking about something on that line earlier. When one of the challenges that we face in communications in the church, it's not our message, it's our method. The pandemic pushed us to adopt, but it didn't. But we didn't adapt.
Wow.
We adopted Zoom.
Now.
We adopted Zoom, but we didn't fully adapt our delivery.
Yeah.
Think about this. Why did the church struggle during the pandemic, and Amazon thrived? It's simple. It was delivery of content. Delivery of content. The church's philosophy was come over here and get it. And during pandemic, it was impossible. Amazon's philosophy is I'll bring it to you.
Yeah.
In fact, think about this. In that short time period, Amazon perfected their delivery, their content delivery. They went from 2-day to overnight to next day.
Yes. Same day. Yeah.
Now watch this. Now it can be from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m.
Come on.
8 a.m. to 11 a.m., 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Somebody tell me what that is. You know what that is? That's on-demand content.
Adaptation. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
It's on demand.
That's good stuff.
And so
Stop it, Woo.
Amazon said that I will allow you to decide when the best time to receive your content. Our challenge is that we're saying the only time we're going to give you content is between the hours of 11 and 2 p.m. on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah. Yep. My. Good stuff. Good stuff. So there's a difference between adopting and adapting.
The difference between adopting and that one. The other one we have is we have this problem of language. Tim Stroder in his book Outspoken that talks about communication, church communications. He reminds us of Peanuts. Remember Peanuts with Charlie Brown? If you remember, anytime an adult was speaking to one of them, it sounded like a trombone. Wah, 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 wah.
Oh, wow.
None of us understood what it was, but somehow Lucy, Linus, and Charlie knew what the adult was saying. They had a secret language.
We did too.
And so the challenge, and that's the problem, the challenge for SDA communicators is we need to stop speaking in tongues.
Come on now.
Because oftentimes we
Wow.
speak in a language that our audience outside of the church stop it. We speak in a language that our audience outside of the church doesn't know.
Wow.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
That's very true. And I love what you're saying, BT, and I'm loving the comments. These comments are fire. Some of these things are so good. So I'm gonna look back on them later. But
Listen, before you go, I just believe we got a lot of communicators in the chat today, because
Yeah.
Yes,
I've
we
never
do.
seen so much put in the chat today.
They're rolling, man.
Yes.
It's just going.
Yes.
I'm just watching this thing go, baby.
Go ahead, Kim.
Oh,
I'm
my.
sorry.
oh no, I was just going to say, in terms of talking about the relevance, the message. I would hope the message that we're giving to the world remains largely the same, and that's the gospel message. But the method that we use to reach people should not be one method. It should not be one way, and we need to communicate clearly. And I think that we are not speaking the language that we need to speak sometimes in the different platforms. And so I think that we need to, as a church, as communicators, we need to investigate what are the ways that we can bring the message to people, this good message to people, but in the right method that's relevant for the situation that we're in and the time that we're in. I think that's important.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right. Oh my. Hey, we need to take our break right quick.
Yeah.
Listen, we're going to ask our guests to sit here for just a moment. We're going to be right back. We're going to take a quick reset break, and we're going to find our way just right back to you in just about 2 minutes. Here we go, gentlemen. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Kim was right. Some of this stuff has just been fire, and wow.
Hey, listen,
Woo,
listen, Roger, Woo's on a different level right here, man. Woo is going.
I think we tapped into a nerve on that one, but I've not seen so much material in the chat like I've seen today. I mean, there are 3, 4, 5 sentences from one contributor, and it's great. I love it. I think it helps. As Kim said, I'm gonna have to go back through this and look at it. I'm excited about what our viewers are saying today, because they're scratching right where it's itching.
Listen, if you were just joining us today at the Pastors Roundtable here on April 1, this edition of Pastors Roundtable, we've got about 20 minutes left in the live show, and we're excited that you stopped by to join us. But there's one thing, Dr. Henry, even though they may have missed the first part of the discussion, there's one thing that they can do. They've got the rest of the time, but then what else, Dr. Henry? What else can they do right now? What do they need to do?
Are you talking about sharing, Pastor
I'm talking
Paul?
about sharing, brother.
Do you want me to tell them to share this feed
Tell
with the
them.
pastor? Listen, share it with your pastor. Share it with your pastor. Share it with the board members. Let them know that we got to take Adventist communication seriously. This is good stuff.
And listen, even if you don't get them on the live stream today, you can copy this Earl. If you're on YouTube, copy the thing and just send them, let them watch it on the replay. Because there's going to be so much, I think, that is just vitally important for our communicators to know. Plus, we have had the opportunity, and we'll talk about this before we end, but I want to prep you now. We've had the opportunity to partner with our guest today and the Society of Adventist Communicators to give away, Roger, something. What are we giving away today?
We are going to give away a free registration to the Society of Adventist Communicators Convention or Conference that's going to happen this year. Later on this year, you're going to have an opportunity to win a free. Did I say free?
You said free. You said free. You didn't even say free 99. You said just flat out free.
And listen, because when we were talking about this, I was so moved by that. I am going to offer another one to a communicator in the South Central Conference.
Wait a minute.
Central Conference, you're going to have an opportunity to win a free registration. And you know what the value of that registration is?
Yeah, I was about to ask that, Pastor.
I know what it is. Listen, Dr. Henry, this is not one of those $15 registration fees.
No, $99. No, what is it?
It's not $99. It's not $190.
$349 value that we'll be giving away today.
So hold up, Pastor Wade. Wait. Have we worked out a way how we're going to get this available to them? Are we going to
stay tuned?
Stay tuned.
Okay, I'll stay tuned, man, to see how this is going to unravel.
But the one that we're giving away is for South Central.
Yeah,
we have another one that
PRT. Now, Pastor's Roundtable is giving away courtesy of SAC. We'll be giving that away today. But Pastor Wade, are you saying that you are going to give away the South Central registration here at the PRT today?
We'll give it away here at the PRT. We're going to tell them how to do
it today? Okay.
All right.
Yeah, they'll know how to do it from here. So even if you're in South Central, if you're not watching us today or later, you missed out. But you got to be a member. You got to be a part of PRT. That's right, Gary. Free stuff.
Where's my southeastern folk at? I need y'all to.
Oh,
we got to send somebody from Southeastern.
Oh, we got Paul Goodrich. Look at
him. All right. Okay, so that's it. Listen, you got some time to share still for the rest of the day. We want to get right back into this conversation. Anything else we need to share with the folk guys before we bring our guests back?
We want to let them know this is our last live episode for season 6. We are preparing to begin on season 7, April 29th at 4 o'clock here in the same space. Still relevant resource and real. Season 7 of Pastors Roundtable. And we started prepping for this opening season. Oh my goodness. You don't want to if you miss season 1 through 6, that's all right. You don't want to miss season 7. You do not want to miss season 7. And the last thing we want to let you know,
Pastor Wade,
the last thing we want to let you know,
you want to say something? They have an opportunity to binge. I was going to say they have an opportunity to binge on season 1 through 6. They have 3 weeks to do so.
That's right. Wow. You got 3 weeks. And the last thing we want to share with you, too, is that PRT is going on the road.
On the road.
We're on the road again. We're heading to the Adventist Theological Seminary. We were invited by the seminary students, wanted to have a real relevant resource discussion. We'll be talking about things that are ministry intersecting with structure. We're going to be dealing with the things that are on the hearts of the seminary students. We'll be sharing some information and presentations on family ministries, creating community productions, and much, much more. April 17th and 18th, and we will have 2 live presentations from the seminary. So you want to make sure you like and you share and you've joined PRT on YouTube and on Facebook so you can get notices when we go live from the road.
Good. Raj, real quick, man, I need you to hit this right quick. Monique is asking us to post the link to donate to the show. Talk to us a little bit about that, and then we got to get back to our guests because time is getting away from us.
Listen, you go right to our page, the PRT.live. Go right to the bottom. There's support there. You can give from that spot, or you can go up to the merch page and give from there. I know that TJ is going to put it up in the chat. He's going to put the link there to make it easy for you. But we are just so happy that you can support PRT to do some unique resourced programs like this, along with some other things that we want to do this year. Thank you so much.
All right, let's bring our guest back at this time. I feel like they've been gone a long time. I missed them. Let's get them back in here. All right.
Let's bring them back.
All right. So let's hit this. Adventist communicators. So when we talk about positioning ourselves as Adventist communicators, whether you're a pastor, whether you're a photographer, whether you're a web designer or a contributor to a web page or a podcaster or a social media, what do we call them? Not contributor, creator, that kind of stuff. Content creator. How should Adventist communicators position themselves as far as popular culture is concerned? Should we, as Adventists, affect the culture? Is the culture affecting us? How far can Adventist communicators go in our relationship with popular culture? we're going to let BT take a stab at this one. Can we create movies and things that are going to compete with Hollywood, or, what we do, some of the stuff I look at sometimes the YouTube channels that get the most views, and the YouTube or the content creators that are making the most money out there. And some of this is just the weirdest stuff, man. They're out there it's crazy. It's like really stupid. It's shallow. There's not really a whole lot of, substance to it. And I think sometimes we are tempted to look at these things that seem really popular and they're getting a lot of attention, and we kind of say, oh, well, if it's working for them, then maybe I ought to be a little more silly or a little more whatever. How far do we go? What's the how do we position ourselves when it comes to popular culture and trying to do what we are called to do?
So for me, it's simple. It's the same as everything else that we do. We should be a part of the culture that is around us. If not, then we look very peculiar, and not peculiar in the sense of unique, but in the sense of strange, weird, and odd. We need to be a part of the culture. Now, you can be a part of the culture, and the culture doesn't overtake you. You can be a part of the culture, and be influenced by the culture. But the culture does not change your foundation, your footing, your rooting, and your central core beliefs.
Okay.
You can be a part of the culture and impact the culture using your foundation, your roots, and your core beliefs.
Okay, because I know there was a time. Let me push this a little further, and then maybe somebody else may want to pick up on that. I remember a time when there were people in Adventist churches who were preaching that the television is of the devil. Throw it out. And you had people would go to revivals, and they would go home and they would take their televisions and bust them up because it was a tool of the devil. We've heard similar things about social media, about some of these other media outlets. Anybody want to take a step? How do we address those things, doing what we need to do in terms of popular culture's impact on the church? Is there a reason to be suspect or cautious or careful, or do we go for what do we do?
I guess the sad thing is every new thing is demonized before it's actually analyzed.
Wow.
They kill it before they look at it.
Wait a minute. Hold on, BT. BT is just all on this stuff today. He's just going.
That's the pastor in him.
Preach.
No, I mean,
it is. Wait a minute. Say it again. It is demonized before it is analyzed. Wow.
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, and we see that all the time. I look at my kids who are not on Facebook at all. I have teenagers, and they're like, "Face what?" That's for grandma. That's for grandma. And sure enough, my mom's out there. But they're on Discord, they're on TikTok, they're on Twitch, they're they're there, and why aren't we there?
Wow.
We need to reach the people where they are. It's again that delivery system that we were talking about. Why don't we go where they are? I'm not ashamed of the message that I have to share, and I think that there are creative and innovative ways that we can share it on those platforms.
Sometimes it feels like we always use this phrase, Brenda, and I say we always use this phrase that we got to fish where the fish are. Sometimes we end up fishing in aquariums, and it's like we're fishing for fish that have already been caught. They're already. Brenda.
Yes, going where the people are. So, how many of you saw during the Super Bowl the He Gets Us ad campaign?
Yes.
Okay. I was listening to an interview with one of the organizers of that campaign, and it was just fascinating to me to hear him talk about the strategy behind the marketing of Jesus Christ
Mm-hmm.
in a way that would be received by our current culture, by people who are open to spiritual ideas. And they did that by talking about things that are really relevant in the world today, social justice and things like poverty and
Mm-hmm.
kindness and on and on. And I thought that was just a really great example of using tools and strategies and topics of modern culture for building up the kingdom of God.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
that's good
I mean,
stuff. That's good stuff.
it was Jesus himself who said, "Go ye." He didn't say, "Come."
Woo.
Yeah.
All right.
I love it. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
Let me jump in here. I know the time is running.
Yeah.
We've got
Yeah.
7 minutes
Wow.
left
7 minutes.
here. So listen, there are some rules, regulations. I mean, you can't video over here. If you go inside of a building, you got to get permission. Tell me, what would you say to Adventist communicators as they relate to these rules and regulations regarding what they can put out there? And we're going to go to Kim.
And Kim,
Well,
can I, Dr. Henry, can I add a little something to that as well? Because we talked about this even last night. Some of the issues that concern not just rules and regulations, but this often becomes an issue within any organization when there's something bad that happens and there's something that the organization needs to communicate. And what communicators often do, we haven't talked a lot about it today, but crisis communication. Something has happened
Yeah.
bad, whether there's been a termination, maybe there's been a child that has been molested or whatever, and oftentimes the members, whatever the issue, the members of the church, the community are looking for
A statement.
some information to come forth. Sometimes people feel some kind of way when the church, when the denomination remains silent, or they say stuff that just kind of seems kind of fluffy and doesn't really address the actual issue, and it feels like they're hiding something. What are some of the reasons behind that type of communication? Is it a good thing? Is it protecting something? We always feel like, oh, they're protecting the denomination, and they're trying to. What's going on there? What's happening in those scenarios?
Well, I will say first and foremost that I think that we should be about protecting people, first of all. So we're a church that's made up of people. So that to me kind of trumps anything. You need to protect people, and there's so much to unpack on this topic. This is a whole.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it's a
and
lot.
we got
It's a lot.
5 minutes.
Because I'm looking
I
at the
know, it's like
time, and I'm looking the
in
the
20
question is
seconds,
broad there.
what's the
Yeah,
the
just go ahead.
philosophy
Yeah.
of the world? But I will just say quickly that I think that it behooves the church to be transparent, um, because Christ was transparent. And so I look at when there's a situation, you mentioned if there was a termination. I think it really depends on what's happened in that situation. If someone was victimized, well, how much do we want to say about that? um, and then you think of in legal terms, victims are also protected. And so I think that there's just so much that goes into communicating through a crisis, that my word of advice is to remember that we're dealing with people, we're dealing with problems, and we're dealing with sometimes legal issues, and we just have to be careful in how we communicate it. I would say never answer, just a quick example, a reporter calls you, you don't give a statement right in that moment, because the answer you're going to give right in that moment, they're putting you on the spot. It's not going to be the right answer. Um, but also you don't say, well, there's no comment, click. You want to say, let me get back with you. Let me get your number, your contact information. And you work with a team. You have to put a team together. So again, so much is going through my mind right now, but I think that we need to be transparent, but we also need to be careful because we are, I think at first and foremost, we need to remember the individuals that are involved in any situation.
And Kim, I think the thing that's great is one thing about the Adventist Church. It has great systems in place. That communication person, that local receptionist at the church, that pastor receives that phone. Let me get back with you. Hang up the phone. Call your conference communication director. That person is trained. That person is trained. That person then he begins that work on it. They call the union communication director. The union communication director calls Kim, and they begin to work this thing through. South Central is blessed because there have been 2 major crises that happened within that territory, and there have been 2 statements that were released within hours of both of those. There were major tornadoes that happened, and they happened like at 3:00 in the morning. 6:00 in the morning, Roger had a statement out. There was the mass shooting in Nashville that happened in the afternoon. Within an hour and a half or so after that, there was a statement out that was informing his constituents, our children are okay. We are sorry. We weep with them right now, but I want to let you know the children at our school that's not too far from there are fine. That's communication at its best.
That's good. That's good.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot, Roger, but those were 2 great examples.
That's our guy.
To share.
Appreciate. So listen, as we begin to land the plane, I know that I have one more question. I may not deal with the question, but there was a question in the chat about funding communications at the communications department, especially at the local church. What can you share with our viewers, especially those who are local communicators, how they could ask, what they need to do so that they can be funded in a way to have the tools necessary. And let me put a parentheses in here. In the show notes on our website, we're going to put a number of you've provided, I think Kim and Brenda, you have provided some key links for some tools that can be used by communicators. And I'm not sure if Bryant, you were part of that, but we're going to put those out there on the show notes. I have a few things that I have that I can share. I know that Dr. Paul, Anselm Paul, you have some, and Deanna, you have some. So we're going to put a lot of stuff in the show notes for this program that will help our local communicators. But what would you say to them to help them get resourced locally, whether it's funding or opportunities to learn? And I just set you up to a segue, so opportunities to learn how to do what they do.
Well, I'll just jump in here, Roger, and say that the Society of Adventist Communicators is working on a training that is specifically tailored toward local church communicators. And we are in the process of partnering with Adventist Learning Community. So there will be training videos for free on that site. And we are putting together this training seminar that we think is going to be really useful to local church communicators. So that's coming up.
So again, two things I would share with Roger. One, share the vision far and wide, like the leaves of autumn. Share the vision, not the wish list. Share the vision, because provisions follow the vision. New people come in at the level of the vision.
BT, come on, man, you keep doing this.
So that's one. The second one, when I had the privilege to serve as a media pastor for a large church on the West Coast, and I went to the pastor and shared what I was trying to do. And I showed them this thing called the dip jar and asked if I could put it outside of our media booth. And people would come by and they would dip their ATM card or their credit card in, and that money went directly to the media ministry.
Oh, wow. because we never pass a plate. We do it for Sabbath School, we do it for AY, we do it for Pathfinder, but we never do it for communications and technology. Wow.
And you call it a dip jar.
It's called a dip jar. It's a device. It's a dip jar, and you specify the amount, and the amount shows up on top of it, and they put their card in it and dip it, and it plays nice little music, and they hear it, and they know that they have given to the ministry.
Come on,
New Hope, if you're listening, New Hope, here we come. We're coming. Dip jar is on the way.
Right. Yes, sir. The dip jar ministry. I love it.
Yes,
anything, Kimberly, you want to add to helping local churches?
I think that BT and Brenda really had some great tips there, especially the jar and what we're going to be hopefully doing with SAC in terms of training. I would add, check out our website, because we do have some content is actually available from previous years and things, and we're going to hopefully be providing more of that type of stuff and training as well in the future. But just read too, for people that are really not trained and they find themselves in a position where here you are, you wrote something really great once, so now you're the communication director at the church. Just read news, regular news, read church news, see how it's constructed, see what are the things that people are looking for, and little by little you'll get there. I remember I used to work with a secretary, an assistant, in one of the conferences when I was at the Columbia Union, and she did not know how to write really at all. I said, just write bullets of what are the things you think are the most important pieces here. And it took time, but she ended up actually being one of our best reporters. Mm-hmm. So if you have the willingness to learn, seek knowledge. We have our resources, and hopefully we'll be able to provide more. But on the local level, I would say do reading, see what's out there, and see how you can emulate it.
Good stuff.
All right.
I love it.
There's a quick start guide from Adventist Source that I think costs $2. You can order it online. Yeah. And that is a quick start guide for local church communicators. You can read it in an hour and really get a lot of good information out of that.
Good stuff.
Excellent.
Good stuff.
Excellent.
That's good.
Excellent.
Listen, very quickly, I know that we've got folk who are asking, they want to talk about the website, want to talk about this event. Can we talk about this event that we see here? This is the website. It is AdventistCommunicator.com, AdventistCommunicator.com, where you can find out more about SAC. Talk to us about the event. We're going to be finding a way to give away this thing. I'm thinking that we'll find a way to give this free registration away. Let's not do it live on the show. Let's do it in the group. So if you have not joined the what are we? Pastors Roundtable Facebook group, not the page, but the group. We're going to put the information in there of how you can win this from the Pastors Roundtable to go to this event. Kimberly, Brenda, any of you want to just kind of talk us very quickly through where this is going to be, what's happening? We talked a little bit more, but talk to us about how people can be involved or sign up to go to this event if they do not win this free registration.
Springfield, Massachusetts is the location for this year's event, October 19th through 21. The fall colors should be beautiful in Massachusetts that time of year, and our executive board for SAC is working really hard, and we are bringing in a great lineup of keynote presenters and workshop presenters. And I'll let Kim tell a little bit more about how to register for this.
Thanks, Brenda. So we will be opening up our registration at the end of this month. So right here on the website, you'll be able to register for the event, and we will start putting up our keynote speakers, our seminar, the workshops, and all of those details will also be appearing on the website shortly. We are working on getting all of that pulled together. And so if they want to come back to this website, that would be a great place, or sign up for the SAC newsletter. As soon as we have new information about what's upcoming, you'll get it in a newsletter. That's a free newsletter. We don't bombard you. We only send you content that will be relevant to our programming. So that would be a great way to just, stay in touch with us. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook is Society of Adventist Communicators, and Twitter, I believe, is now I'm drawing a blank. I think it's Adventist COM, Adventist COMM. That's our Twitter. So as we get a little bit closer in onto the convention and giving more details on that, and some of the trainings that we're working on sharing, those are places to check out so that you'll stay up to date.
All right. Monique said she needs to have her own dip and jar church to attend the convention. She'd be coming all the way from the UK to come and to attend. This is exciting. We're glad to be able to partner with you here at the Pastors Roundtable to give this registration away.
So you said, Pastor Paul, just to make sure that we are clear, you're saying registration will not open up, I think, Brenda, until the end of this month. The end of April is what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Yep, end of April.
So by May 1, the registration should be live.
Okay.
All right, we are 8 minutes beyond our time, ladies and gentlemen. We apologize for keeping you a little long, but hopefully this information was great for you and will help you. Invite your church pastor, your church communications team, technology team, your photographers, your video, all of those different things. You want to be a part of this this event coming up in October. Roger, it's all you, Doc.
Definitely. Well, listen, we just want to say thank you to all the communicators who were in the chat today. You blew up the chat today. I'm excited. I'm going to take my time, go through the information. We will probably respond to you individually because it was truly a blessing to hear from you, hear your thoughts. And so thank you for being a vital part of the Pastors Roundtable. And for those who are going to be watching in the replay, you need to make sure you connect to the Pastors Roundtable group so that you will get information on how you can be able to attend the Society of Adventist Communicators Convention that's going to happen this year, October 19th to the 21st, 2023 in Springfield, Massachusetts. We're going to put all of that in the chat. There'll be two opportunities. One from anyone, from anywhere, and one specifically for the South Central Conference. And I know, Pastor Paul, you're going to work on getting one to Southeastern.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous. Listen, Southeastern, my Southeastern family are out there. I'm going to see if I can get us to sponsor somebody from Southeastern as well to go.
Listen, Pastor Paul said, so listen now. I come here. I'm here at the Florida Conference now. So I'm going to have to talk to my president, man.
Do it.
And we're going to see what the Florida Conference can do to maybe send one person there too. So I'm going to talk to my president, my communication team, to see what they can do.
So there may be 3 or 4 or more. I don't know what's
going
to happen.
Right. Hopefully we'll have 4.
We're going to see what we can do to make this a profitable resource for our communicators to be a part of the Adventist communicators there at the Society's convention this year. Listen, we don't want to keep you any longer. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you share what you've heard. We are not coming back until April 29th for season 7 of the Pastors Roundtable, where we plan to still be relevant,
resourced,
and real. God bless. And
Take care, everybody.
April the 29th.